Hello, my name is Cameron Cook, and today I'm going to talk to you about something that I'm passionate about, mission trips. I believe that mission trips allow us to show God's love to the world and give us the opportunity to give back to those less fortunate. We have all heard the verse, love thy neighbor as thyself, and mission trips allow us to put that verse into action. I became passionate about missionary work from a young age. I grew up going to church and went on my first mission trip when I was just 8 years old. I saw the impact that we made on the village we visited, and it made an even bigger impact on me. Since then, I've gone on 8 mission trips outside the United States. As you can imagine, I did not have the finances to travel at such a young age. Fundraising is a major component in missionary work. We held events such as car washes, dinners, and any extra jobs possible to raise funds. I once left the country with less than $100 in my pocket to survive on for 3 weeks. It was terrifying, but I felt called to go. Before leaving for a mission trip, it's important that you make a plan. You do not know which areas are safe to go to. It is important to contact local churches in that area. The churches can tell you which areas are safe and what is needed in those areas and can possibly provide a place for you to stay. Traveling alone or being unprepared is extremely dangerous, and many missionaries are captured and killed every year. When I was in high school, I was going through some hard times and looking for direction. I decided the best way to find my purpose was to serve others. I signed up for a mission trip to the Philippines. I would spend the next 3 weeks of my summer in a foreign country on the other side of the world. Myself and 9 others planned our trip to the island of Samar. Samar was the first island of the Philippines sighted by the Spanish expedition of Ferdinand Magellan on March 16, 1521. Samar is the third largest island in the Philippines. It is roughly 5,000 square miles and home to some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. It's mostly jungle and ranked #1 in the world in witchcraft. Filipinos are very community-oriented and not materialistic. It was like walking into the complete opposite version of America. They make their own vehicles and homes, and they are very welcoming to strangers. Filipinos are very talented and spend years perfecting the crafts of their choosing. Filipino food has a heavy Chinese influence. The cuisine is mostly fish and noodle based. Filipino cuisine centers around the combination of sweet, sour, and salty. Vinegar is a common ingredient in most meals. It is not uncommon for Filipinos to invite strangers into their home and prepare a meal. I was invited to dinner almost daily. Upon arriving in the Philippines, my body was forced to adjust to a new humid climate. The food and new bacteria that existed there was a shock to my body, and I became extremely ill. There's no hospitals nearby, and after my fever broke and was able to get medical help, my fever was still 103 degrees. It is important to stay hydrated and healthy on mission trips. The barrio or barangay are different political districts within the Philippines. Each one of these districts has an area where villagers will congregate for events. At these locations, we performed skits and crafts for kids, led worship, and shared the gospel. We also offered prayer for anyone suffering from an illness. It was powerful to see the impact that just a few of us could make in a few weeks. Over 14,000 people heard us speak, over 12,000 accepted Christ, and over 8,000 were healed or prayed for healing. And 169 new Bible studies were started in these communities. This is why I believe that mission trips are so important. Mission trips allow you to step out of your comfort zone and experience a different culture. I not only was fortunate enough to experience the culture in the Philippines, but was able to travel to Mexico for mission trips 7 different times. We brought food and clothing, helped rebuild homes, and brought musical instruments for the church. Mission trips allow you to make new You do not have to go halfway around the world to attend a mission trip. There are hurting and homeless people in your own city that could use a helping hand. One of the most powerful things I have been a part of was a homeless outreach in Santa Cruz, California. We sat and talked with people the world had forgotten and listened to their stories after providing them lunch. On my mission trips, I experienced culture shock for the first time. I stepped out of my comfort zone and flew around the world to a different culture where I felt like I didn't belong. The term culture shock was first introduced by the anthropologist Kalervo Oberg in 1958. Culture shock is an experience a person may have when one moves to a cultural environment which is different from one's own. It is also the personal disorientation a person may feel when experiencing an unfamiliar way of life due to immigration or a visit to a new country, a move between social environments, or simply transition to another type of life. The culture shock curve is best described in stages. The honeymoon period is when you're extremely excited upon arriving to a new place. You feel like the world is at your fingertips. Then the initial culture shock ensues and you feel uneasy and you start to adjust to your surroundings. This takes months to do. You over time adapt to the new culture. Tourists experience heavy culture shock because they are usually in the country for less than 6 months and immerse themselves in an entirely new culture and then head back to their culture. Sojourners are there from 6 months to 5 years, just long enough to be semi-immersed, and immigrants and refugees take even longer to adjust. People who experience culture shock may feel physical symptoms such as fatigue, too much or too little sleep, eating too much or not enough, frequent minor illnesses, or an upset stomach. They may also feel lonely, depressed, bored, homesick, helpless, irritable, social withdrawal, a rebellion against rules and authority. People also experience reverse culture shock. This is when they return home from the experience they just had in a foreign country and culture, and they re-enter into their own culture and see it in a new light and differently. They might have trouble with some of their old social norms and take a while to adjust to their old way of life. The best way to overcome reverse culture shock is to keep in contact with people you traveled with. Or you could possibly get involved with different groups or activities that will re-immerse you in your own culture, and you can get up to date on fads, vocabulary, and TV shows, or what's in. This will help you readjust. Thank you very much.